Come rain or shine, hoping for a vintage performance.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, don't push, give the man a chance.
Oh, hello.
To the teams ready to prove themselves on the track where it all began. And to the drivers pushing the limits around these famous corners. Whether you're chasing your first, second,
This is a dream.
or even your 10th,
Fantastic job, guys.
the British Grand Prix has always been special because there's just no place like home.
It's race day at Silverstone. In a few moments, we go sprinting around a landmark motor racing venue, which at this moment resides in near quiet. The current soundtrack, a murmur of anticipation. It will not last. Soon we'll hear the true Silverstone soundtrack and enjoy the mixture of roaring turbos and cheering crowds around one of the great racetracks on the planet. 5.8 kilometers, 3.6 miles, and 17 laps between the winner and 8 points for the World Championship. It's flat out. It's 30 minutes of flat out racing, lights to flag. We've run one sprint around here in the past with Lewis Hamilton at the front, but Max Verstappen triumphed. Good morning. It is race day in Great Britain, back where the World Championship began, and we are ready with the cars on the grid in front of an enormous Saturday crowd who are looking forward to seeing the 5 red lights go out in a few moments' time. Here's the starting grid then, as we go from back to front. Alex Albon is starting in the pit lane. Next will come Lance Stroll. He's in 21st place. And then it is Fernando Alonso, a 2-time winner of this event. Valtteri Bottas is in 19th position. Then it's Sergio Perez in Cadillac as they celebrate the 4th of July. And then it's Esteban Ocon, who finds himself in 17th, next to Oliver Behrman, who was knocked out in the first part of sprint qualifying. Carlos Sainz is in 15th, and then it is Franco Colapinto, 14th on the grid for Alpine. Nico Hülkenberg chasing his first points of the season from 13th on the grid. Then it is Gabriel Bortoleto next to Pierre Gasly. And the top 10 begins with Arvid Lindblad, close once again to Liam Lawson, who is in fantastic form. Next up, Isaac Hadjar, only a 10th off his teammate, but down in 8th. Oscar Piastri in 7th. And then it is Lando Norris in 6th. George Russell finds himself in 5th. And then it is Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, and at the front, Antonelli and Lewis Hamilton. And so Lewis Hamilton finds himself with a chance to do something he's never done before. 9 Grand Prix wins around here, but he has never won a sprint. This is the second chance he's got to do so. He starts in the same place he did as 2021. Epic race that day. Set the groundwork for an epic Grand Prix the next day as well. That was a sight of the Lando Norris grandstand, and a magnificent sight it is as well. Let's go on board with the contenders then. Charles Leclerc, chasing confidence, chasing grip. He's not got the feel that Hamilton has behind the wheel. Max Verstappen, always amazing around here. And on the front row, Kimi Antonelli, our championship leader by 40 points. He goes at the front of the field. Only Lewis Hamilton ahead of him. He's 8 meters further forward. What a sight that is at Silverstone.
Formation light, guys. Formation lap.
The revs are rising, and it's time for the green light. As we make our way from the line, we should be making our way from the line. The green light is illuminated on the gantry. And now finally, Lewis Hamilton gets off the line. So there's a long pause there, but he makes his way onto the formation lap, and he is cheered onto the formation lap. A driver rejuvenated in 2026. Not on the podium at all in 2025, but Hamilton of old is back, and he leads the field onto the formation lap. In the commentary box, I'm Alex Shakes. Alongside me, two-time British Grand Prix winner David Coulthard, Jolyon Palmer, our analyst as well, is going to talk us through all of the action, and we're expecting a lot of action because Silverstone just invites brilliant racing and always has, DC.
It does indeed. It's the variability of this very high-speed open racetrack, a former airfield, which means there's not a lot of protection from the wind. And that, as you can see the flag flying, is what can cause the drivers a lot of difficulty. A headwind is a driver's friend. A tailwind, well, that makes it pretty tricky. And when you get crosswinds, well, it's really, really difficult. And Jolyon is going to put us in the cockpit.
Yeah, it's anyone's game when you get a sudden crosswind through, especially the fast corner. So somewhere here, like Cops Corner, you load up the car and just a sudden gust of wind can put your perfect airflow out of kilter and cause a slap of oversteer. Particularly dangerous on these fast turns. So difficult. Also, DC, when I was just down on the grid, I don't know about you, but I was getting dust blown into my eyes. It was so gusty out there. So I wonder if we're going to see a slightly dirty track as well with the wind.
Yeah, they did have multiple sweepers out there. They really keep the track in best condition as they can, given we've got other support races, and the crowd, well, they're just delighted to see cars on track, and the race hasn't even started.
Looking at the tyre choices, we've got a gamble from Liam Lawson. He's going to start on the grippier but less durable softer tyre. Your top 8 in the race are all on the mediums. There is no mandatory pit stop in a sprint race.
Yeah, well, they obviously feel that their car, which has been performing well the last few races, getting both of the drivers into the top 10, they obviously feel with the lighter fuel loads that will be required for this 17-lap sprint, it's worth rolling the dice.
On board with Lando Norris, he's gone past his grandstand. You can't miss it. 16,000 people cheering him on from Stowe Corner.
Awfully long hold on the formation, wasn't it? Now Antonelli sits back from Hamilton and allows the far more experienced man to line up on the grid and bide his time once again. But it was like Lewis was waiting for his time to have the perfect launch, even if the lights were green. And now tries to do the latest of burnouts to keep some temperature in those tyres too.
Yeah, the benefit of pole, of course, is you've got clean air running into the first corner. The downside is you sit there that little bit longer, losing temperature from the tyres, from your brakes, and of course the engine temp's creeping up ever so slightly. And as we see someone heading to the pit lane already.
Yeah, that's Alex Albon. He's allowed a formation lap as per the rule book. The team said they have basically changed the car to try and learn something for the rest of the weekend. Williams still struggling for outright pace.
He started a sprint from the grid. Albon as a sign of the times for Williams.
So we have a last car in place. Lance Stroll.
Okay, this has not updated.
For Aston Martin, who are based very close to this racetrack. It's not been their season so far, but it has been Lewis Hamilton's. He's back in form and he's next to the championship leader. Green flag at the back means our first race of the weekend begins when the 5 red lights illuminate. Here they come, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights at Silverstone. And the sprint race is underway. We move off the line. Antonelli, great reaction to the inside. Antonelli versus Hamilton into Alley corner. He was committed, and Hamilton kept it pinned. Super stuff. Hamilton, Antonelli. Norris gets up to 3rd position, and George Russell is fighting Oscar Piastri, who was in 4th, but Russell goes around the outside. And it's a terrible start for Max Verstappen, who's down 3 places. Lewis Hamilton has the lead.
Yeah, that was decisive defensive stuff from Hamilton as he ran it into turn 1. The battle continues down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands, and Hamilton has got his mirrors full of Antonelli.
Where did our second row duo go off the line? Verstappen and Leclerc going absolutely nowhere, which opens the door for the McLarens. And Norris now hunting Antonelli as well on this first lap. He's got a chance here.
He's got a lot of speed. Antonelli trying to go defensive. Lando Norris going through. Brit 1-2 at Silverstone. He disappears. Can he stay ahead will be the question. But the world champion's up to P2.
Well, look out for Piastri as well. Norris started 6th. Piastri started 7th. Antonelli is now glued to the tail of the McLaren through this part.
The question now is, did Lando Norris get a bit greedy, use a little bit of the energy? Because if he did, it means that Antonelli can come back through. The crowd loved it. Opportunistic. George Russell trying to go around the outside of Oscar Piastri, one of our championship contenders. Goes the long way round, gets by. He gets past one McLaren. Is it going to be 2 McLarens in 2 corners? Russell on fast forward, and he makes his way up to 3rd in the race.
Yeah, clever use of the energy around the lap. It looked like Hamilton used a lot early on as Verstappen is making his way forward.
And he gets up to 5th. Oscar Piastri not having it, so Verstappen reclaiming a place, and Oscar Piastri is going to be in trouble again. Here comes Charles Leclerc.
Yes, the McLarens dumped so much energy on the first half of the lap. That's why Norris had the overspeed for such a clear pass on Antonelli into Copse corner, but then they're sitting ducks. So the Mercedes now 2nd, and Russell is the main gainer, but here comes Norris again.
So Norris now on the attack, and we see that Max Verstappen in the background gets himself up to 5th, and we're looking further forward. So here we go, here's another chance. And now, can Lando Norris get another place at this part of the lap? This is where he was able to go past the Mercedes before. This is where he's able to go past the Mercedes again. Left-hand side of your picture, Charles Leclerc thinking about it. On the inside of Copse corner, couldn't get by.
So can he learn something from the last lap? Just harvest through these fast corners so he can somehow manage to hang on to it down the Hangar Straight. The problem is you're back onto full throttle. Is this going to be a chance for Russell's immediate repass?
So it's pass and repass. They've got different approaches at McLaren. They've got different approaches to how they use the energy from the power unit, and this is where Russell was strong before. This is where Russell looks strong again, but crucially, Lando Norris is able to stay ahead, using all of that curb to do so. He runs P3 as we make our way around Club Corner once again. Hamilton, Antonelli, Norris, and then look at that, look at the speed using the boost to get by. Max Verstappen gets up to 4th, like Russell was standing still.
Yeah, we're really seeing the energy being used to its maximum advantage. He went down the inside and then been repassed again by Norris. See what their energy deployment is down the Wellington.
Well, this is all about when you deploy your energy. This is about when you choose to use your power. And George Russell finding himself 5th at the moment. He jumps across into the path of the driver 2nd in the World Championship standings as he tries to pass the world champion, trying to go around the outside of Luffield. No way through at the moment. Norris in 3rd. You ride on board with the 4-time champion.
Yeah, look, we were caught out by that camera angle. It looked like Verstappen almost wasn't aware that Russell was trying to go on the outside line, but in the end, there was enough space.
Up to 5th goes Oscar Piastri. He's back past George Russell. It's pass and repass. And Russell's got to keep his head here because it's very easy to get shuffled back and lose 3 places on a lap.
Yeah, the problem was he was attacking Norris, so he was using his energy this time last lap. And if you don't make the pass, you use that and you've got nothing left to defend. So that's cost him a couple more places.
Russell again past Oscar Piastri. It is yo-yoing at the moment, the order changing. Sector by sector, not lap by lap. Piastri will try and come back through. Can he go the long way round? Not at Vale. Okay, Russell back to where he started. After everything we've seen, he's back to where he started this race in P5. Verstappen didn't get off the line, lost a load of places. Same applies to Charles Leclerc. Verstappen's been able to get back into the race, though, and he's climbed his way through. How he'll be ruining that poor getaway.
Well, it's lap 4, and we've already probably had a new record for sprint overtakes in this race.
I was going to say, do you want to do one, Palmer? Here we go. We're sharing them out in the box because it's happening corner by corner at the moment. Side by side, McLaren and Ferrari, Charles Leclerc. Remember, if you get within a second, you get overtake mode, you can recharge more and you get more power to deploy. And now the Ferraris to the inside of Brooklands Corner, where the British Grand Prix began 100 years ago this year.
Gotta say, drivers keeping it very clean, and it's giving us some exciting choice of lines as they position themselves to then dump their electrical energy.
Well, we know that this gaggle are so evenly matched because they were all within the same tenth of a second in qualifying yesterday. Talking of tenths of a second, momentarily, Kimi Antonelli got down to 8/10 of a second away from Lewis Hamilton, who's led all the way through this one. And it does feel like we've been watching this at 2 times speed, the amount of overtaking that we've been getting all the way through, especially on the Hangar Straight. Has anyone else got more juice in the tank? Not this time. They run in formation. 9/10 of a second for the lead of the sprint.
Yeah, what's interesting, just looking at the sectors, Antonelli much quicker than Hamilton the first. Consistently 2-3 tenths slower in the middle sector. So we're seeing that sort of yo-yo of the gap.
And that is a clean break for the top two. There they are, heading into the first corner, Abbey. And then you've got to run back to third. So Norris and Verstappen now just establishing themselves in third and fourth, with over a second between Max and George Russell in fifth. So they can now get back into kilter of regular energy deployment around the lap. At the start of the race, you dump it all on the first lap. They do it in different ways. And then you find yourself racing with people that have got no energy or loads of energy, and you get this sort of chaotic racing. The more they start running, the more they become even across the board. So it's kind of less hectic at this stage.
Only 8 score in the sprint formats, and here is that battle further back. Gasly's been passed now by both Racing Bulls in the last minute of the motor race. Lawson got by, and now Lindblad has.
Yeah, Hadjar's had a poor start as well, hasn't he? So he's the man that's dropped out of the top 8. Max Verstappen's teammate started in 8th place and has fallen behind the Alpines and the Racing Bulls, and there is a point on offer for Liam Lawson there, or Arvid Lindblad. Now he's cleared Pierre Gasly.
Yeah, it's just great to hear the onboard there, and they have to shuffle down the gears as quickly as possible to maximise the recharge.
On the radio last time around, Lewis Hamilton told by his race engineer, Kimi Antonelli, does have overtake mode. There's one detection point on the racetrack. You've got to be within a second right here. That's where they decided. You get it for the whole lap. Hamilton resists really well the first time that Antonelli had that available.
Yeah, again, it's like clockwork, the difference in the way they're driving this lap. Antonelli quicker in the first sector by a few tenths, and then likewise slower in that middle sector. So clear difference in how they're using their overall power package.
Yeah, the energy deployment yesterday for the Mercedes was a little bit more. The top speed here was higher for Antonelli versus Hamilton. Hamilton was then drilling it through Copse at a higher speed and taking more. That's your middle sector gain. And then it was fairly even at the end of the lap. They're running at least in kilter, but as you say, Alex, you've got a chance for Antonelli at some point to use boost, which will then be his chance to deploy everything from his battery and catch Hamilton napping if he can get close enough. And it won't be napping, it'll just be with not the additional energy from his battery to deploy at that moment.
Well, this is opposite ends of the age spectrum. 22 or 21 years, the gap between Antonelli and Lewis Hamilton. And you actually consider that. Lewis was well on his way in Formula One when Kimi was first taking his breaths in planet Earth, but here they are going wheel to wheel, and soon it will be a race for the win.
Yeah, great to see these two going head-to-head for race victory. Great battling qualifying yesterday, separated by 100th of a second. But as you say, DC, 21 years between them, 7/10 of a second between them for a win at Silverstone. This is a racetrack that carries good memories for Antonelli. A couple of years ago, he got his first Formula 2 win around here. Ferrari just have one sprint win in their history. That was Lewis Hamilton back in Shanghai, trying to make it 2, but Antonelli looking confident. And he's having a couple of laps now to size up where the Ferrari might have a weakness.
It was in a bit hot for Village. That was the right-hander. As he compromised what should have been a good chance, still nearly was a good chance down towards Brooklands, but he was too far back because he tightened the left-hander at the loop. You need to stay close there, and that's where the Mercedes' strength lies, but he didn't manage to nail it through the hairpins on that lap.
Yeah, I think that was more about just saying to Hamilton, I'm here, you're going to have to start defending, which will cost him time. No way that was it's too much speed into Brooklands, not enough braking to really get a late pass like that done.
Nice thing for Antonelli here is he's got 6 seconds back to Norris. This is a shot at victory with no repercussions if you don't get it right now. The way that the battle for third was shaping up early on means this is just a direct duel, and it's on now.
Yeah, that battle has stabilised, but this is for the lead of the race. All of these corners carry so many memories through the years. We make our way through Stowe, into Vale. Club is next. It has been a dominant season for Mercedes. They were beaten to a sprint win earlier this season in Miami. That was by Lando Norris. Isaac Hadjar moves to the top 10, left-hand side of your picture. But the only person who's beaten Mercedes in a Grand Prix all year is the driver currently in the lead. But we're heading to Village Corner, and Antonelli is closer than he's ever been before.
Yeah, he's getting himself into position, using that wider line to get the cut back, and he'll be hoping that he can really pick up the slipstream onto the Wellington.
They forced Hamilton in deep this time.
Is this the moment for Kimi Antonelli, the 19-year-old at Mercedes who replaced Lewis Hamilton? He's being cautious. He is taking his time with this one. He is forcing Hamilton away from the racing line. Antonelli biding his time, knowing that if he can get by and it stays like this, he'd have a 43-point lead in the World Championship going into the Grand Prix tomorrow.
There are plenty of full throttle sections. You've got to feel that Hamilton used a fair amount of energy to defend that attack from Antonelli into Brooklands. Has he been able to recharge the battery? Because there's another big run coming down towards the hangar straight, and Antonelli is close. Oh, sliding out of the final part of Beckett's, though.
If Hamilton has used too much of the energy, this is where he will pay for it, and Kimi Antonelli goes through to the lead.
Well, that is a perfect example of if you use that battery to defend, you have got nothing left when you're on the hangar straight.
George Russell to fourth place. He's to the inside, and he gets past Max Verstappen. So Antonelli improves in the points to the race lead. Russell is still side by side with Verstappen, and Max will not give him an inch. He's back ahead.
Are you surprised by that? It's Max Verstappen. He will fight for everything. And George is going to have to get clever somewhere else on the track, because Antonelli has been able to break a little bit the slipstream to Hamilton.
Antonelli with crucial laps now. His task is to try and check out, to get beyond that 1 second window, to deny Hamilton overtake mode on the other side. Hamilton doing everything he can to stay within a second, and he used a lot of his energy to defend. Now, we saw a yellow flag earlier in the race, and it was Fernando Alonso being spun around by Sergio Perez, and he's got a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision. We've had a lot of overtaking, which is why we've probably not brought you that replay. But we do have Antonelli making his way through to the head of the field, where a lot of people expected Mercedes to be by the end of sprint qualifying. A special Hamilton lap denied them that, but there's nothing he could do. One thing I will say, Hamilton is within a second at this stage. He's got to stay there by the time he gets out of turn 17, Vale Corner.
Yeah, still some racing to be done here, so it's not over for Hamilton as he continues to bring that gap down. And, well, Kimi Antonelli, as we're going to see Russell with a massive overspeed.
Oh, huge speed for the Mercedes. Slam dunk on his way to fourth place in the race. Not a contest. George Russell minimising the damage in the championship standings, gaining a place. And Russell now will be hoping that he can catch Lando Norris. He's got 2.4 seconds. There is the world champion heading to turn one. Russell will be trying to hunt him down. Verstappen's still close.
Well, Russell's using nothing here. He's going to be a sitting duck, maybe into the hairpins.
Russell will try and force Verstappen the long way round, but you can turn the outside line into the inside line. Not this time. Aggressive defence from George Russell, and he keeps the place.
Yeah, allowed to do that. Verstappen was factoring on the fact that he might give him some space, but he's going to come back at him now, down into Brooklands.
So Russell checking the left mirror and the right mirror and seeing it full of not only Max Verstappen but Charles Leclerc as well. Both of these drivers, Verstappen and Leclerc, getting poor starts off the line. They dropped down. They've both lost 2 places from where they started on the grid.
Yeah, that wasn't actually Max's finest bit of car positioning there at Village, because he was halfway around the outside. You're always going to be forced out wide, especially by someone like George Russell there. He knows the rules inside out, and it was never going to work. And it's left him now with that golden opportunity missed, falling into the clutches of Charles Leclerc. Who's been able to harvest what on this lap? We're going to find out right now.
Recharging the electrical energy you can deploy. It's 50-50 split, and it looks like the Ferrari has more available. Charles Leclerc gets to Stowe Corner first, and he finds himself now 5th in the race. Verstappen will have the chance in the next couple of corners to try and come back, but not into Vale.
Yeah, Russell may be able to use this as a chance to just take a breath and get away from the Ferrari and the Red Bull as they start to have a bit of a yo-yo. Leclerc obviously using a little bit more energy. Verstappen maybe with something more to respond with now. They're both within a second of Russell, as Hamilton is still with Antonelli out front. So Antonelli's not been able to shake off Lewis. It's close, but Hamilton still with the bigger tank of energy effectively allowed.
Yeah, last couple of laps, Antonelli gets to the brink, but by the time they get to the detection point, final corner, he's not able to break that 1 second window. He has done this time. Charles Leclerc massively on the back foot as Verstappen tries to retake 5th place.
And this is Russell's break now as well. So if he can clear away with Leclerc having to watch out for Verstappen's response, that is Russell's chance to just get his head down and get back to an even keel and drive more normally rather than all this attack, defend, recharge and deploy. Once you start getting back into a regular routine of it, your lap times are just quicker, it's more efficient. Having said that, I think Charles Leclerc was pretty quick through Cops, and he's back within a second.
Where you deploy defining the race so far, I think Lando Norris probably having a race above expectations. George Russell will be hoping for more laps than he's got realistically. Caught in the melee of pass and repass. Final point scorer at the moment, Liam Lawson, once again occupying that best of the rest position. Isaac Hadjar trying to return to the top 8 and make it the big 4 teams in the major places once again.
Well, that first lap was madness, wasn't it? You've got the McLarens charging through, then falling back. It reminded me, it was the only thing we've had since Melbourne, really, where it was quite like that, where Arvid Lindblad stormed his way up to 3rd place at one point on the first lap and then ended it in 6th. In Melbourne, that was just the Grand Prix, and then it was done, on to China. Here, of course, there's another race start for tomorrow, so are the teams going to look at maybe what McLaren did and think, OK, maybe we do just go more aggressive at the start and then get your elbows out and hold position, because it's clearly worked out for Norris.
Well, talking of being more aggressive at the start, I'm pretty sure initially the graphic showed Lawson on a soft tyre, whereas now we're running and he's on a medium. So that experiment that we thought we were going to get hasn't turned out to be the case.
Not the case at all. Scrap that.
So for those who are interested, you can see that those who did choose to go with soft are running right at the back. So not on the fastest of cars, but it would have been nice to have seen something a little different.
Hey, we got the graphic right in the end. It's Lawson in 8th. Hadjar is now 1.5 seconds away. Hadjar has enough time to claim that last point, and they all add up by the end of the year. The World Championship last year decided by 2. Max Verstappen falling short of the greatest comeback in the history of Formula 1 in terms of a points gap closed down, but he was 2 away. Antonelli, last couple of laps, has put one hand on the sprint race trophy and broken that gap on Hamilton beyond 1 second. It's now 1.7.
Yeah, Mercedes just look a little bit quicker than Ferrari today. They were surprised that Hamilton was able to nab pole position for this one with Lewis's final attempt, getting it by 100th. But we've seen Antonelli close down and now pull away from Hamilton. And further back, George Russell starting to shake off Charles Leclerc, although every time I start that sentence, Leclerc looks closer when I finish it. So that one's still on. Here's Charles Leclerc on board.
Yeah, he's still trying to figure it out in terms of what's Hamilton doing that he's not, and to get the performance out of the car. It's been quite a notable shift in performance within that team. Leclerc pretty much consistently setting the fastest times last year, and Hamilton just seems to be much more at ease with the management of this type of race car. And as we'll listen to him going through Copse Corner, down a gear, they won't actually brake for that, they'll just use the retardation from lifting off and getting that gear in to get a little boost of energy. Super fast charging, of course, in these modern Formula 1 cars.
Leclerc uses a lot more. That was the Ferrari strength yesterday. Spoke about it earlier on in relation to Antonelli and Hamilton, but Leclerc as well using more through the fast stuff. That's Copse in and out. It means he closes up, and this is as close as he's been for a few laps behind Russell.
Hamilton coming back a little bit at Antonelli, so it's almost like he's close but not quite settled enough with the performance of that Ferrari, which is definitely improved with their upgrades.
Went past Perez on that lap. They were putting a lap on Perez, so he might have caught him at a different part of the circuit.
Yeah, he checked the mirror as well as he went past. So he's certainly still aware of Hamilton's presence behind him. There was a moment that, because Cadillac have got a new livery and McLaren have got a new livery, I thought, that can't be Lando Norris suddenly on the tail. What's happened? It is not. Perez is a lap down.
Yeah, red, white and blue for Cadillac on this 4th of July. And McLaren running in their original Formula One livery with the white car and the green stripe. That was Bruce McLaren's original livery in Formula One. Debuted at the Monaco Grand Prix, scored their first points here at the British Grand Prix, and they love a Silverstone special. Cadillac learning all the time. It's a definite divide in Formula One on our driver tracker in the commentary box. You've got the main pack, they're all making their way out of Cops Corner. Antonelli down to Stowe at the moment. They're in one race. Lawson up against Hadjar, that's the second race. Poor old Aston Martin are left to fight with themselves at the back. They'll bring an updated car for the Hungarian Grand Prix. But of the battles out front that matter, Antonelli has cleared Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton trying to get within a second by the end of the race. That's the task ahead of him, to give himself a chance of putting Antonelli under pressure. And we should remind you, if you're not familiar with the name, if you're not usually with us, Kimi Antonelli, second season of Formula One, 19 years of age. He has never won a sprint race.
The records will keep going for Antonelli then, if he can hang on for another 3 laps. Hamilton was 2 tenths quicker the last lap when they went around Perez. This time around he's lost a tenth, so Antonelli's still safe at 1.5 seconds. Leclerc just drifting beyond a second from Russell this time. So as I say that, I'm sure he's going to be on the gearbox as they head down the Wellington Straight.
It's appeared that way. Yeah, things were changing very quickly earlier on compared to what we've seen before. It is reminiscent of the madness of Melbourne, where it was pass and repass, sector by sector, corner by corner, and then it settled into a rhythm later in the Grand Prix. Hulkenberg is under investigation for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. But poor old Nico, who had an astonishing day here last year in the Grand Prix when he scored his first podium, is still outside of the points.
Norris has got to be careful he's not caught by Russell before the end of the race. Was a little bit offline there, going around Perez into Copse Corner. Would have cost him a little bit. Obviously, Russell's got to clear Perez and has done before they've got into Maggotts and Beckett, so that's easier for George. He's now only 1.3 seconds back.
They've been talking about different modes between Marcus Dudley, George Russell's race engineer, and they've been trying to understand it as they've gone. Again, it's the story of Russell's season. Antonelli starts the weekend stronger. Russell needs to do homework and understand the car to get the best out of it. That gap that Jolyon told you about has come from 3 seconds down to 1 second on the penultimate lap of the Silverstone sprint.
Yeah, Norris is falling into the clutches of Russell. It's going to be a final lap showdown. I don't know if he's going to be able to stay out of arm's reach. That's the Aston Martin now falling a lap down, Lance Stroll. So now if you're Norris, you just want to go as fast as possible, put in effectively a qualifying lap and keep Russell out of that 1 second window on this penultimate lap. If George gets within 1 second, he'll have a little bit more energy to use, and he might have options of deployment down the many different straights we've got here.
Man, that was crazy.
Yeah, we saw
Moved
that.
on the braking so hard.
Yeah, we saw that.
We'll try and bring you a replay of the move that Isaac Hadjar didn't like from Liam Lawson, who's defending for all he's worth, trying to hang on to the final point.
They know each other well, don't they? Former teammates. Hadjar up into Red Bull, fighting with the Racing Bulls driver. It's going to be a bit of a closing speed on the inside here. Oh, it's a squeeze. It's a squeeze.
That was late in the day. Liam Lawson causing irritation for Isaac Hadjar, French driver, able to take evasive action, but that was very tight for Stowe Corner.
Yeah, that'll be on as well for Hadjar to nab that final point and make up for 17 laps to get back to where he started, if he can do it. Here we go then, final lap we're about to start with Norris 9 tenths ahead of Russell, so George might have a chance to put the pressure on the final lap. Depends what Lando's got left in the tank to quell it.
Well, over the line we go for the 17th and final tour of this 3.6-mile circuit. All the history around here, and we're going to have a battle of the Brits on the last lap for third in the sprint. Norris will have known that that gap was coming down. It won't be news to him. He will have had updates all the way through. Also keep an eye on the battle between Lawson and Hadjar. Those are the places up for grabs. 3rd and 8th on the last lap. Kimi Antonelli on his way to victory.
Russell was sliding as well in towards the loop that tight left-hander. That's cost him a little bit of exit speed. So one long straight gone. That's the chance into Brooklands. This is another big area of deployment, another area of Norris overtakes on those first laps, but it's not going to be now they're running much more in equilibrium. So it's all going to come down to the hangar straight and Stowe corner, but it looks to me like George Russell's just going to be too far back.
He does have overtake mode. He has the ability to recharge more. He has more power than Lando Norris does. But it looks like he's too far back. Antonelli bided his time earlier on, had the speed, just had to wait for Hamilton to run out of energy. That was the case. And it's another moment of success in 2026 for Kimi Antonelli, who crosses the line to win the Silverstone Sprint, his first sprint victory in Formula One, and the championship leader extends his margin further. Hamilton in second, and Norris holds off George Russell for fourth place for Russell, third place for Norris, and then our point scorers, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Piastri, and then who's it going to be between Hadjar and Lawson? Looked like a late lunge, but not late enough. Lawson's point-scoring form continues in Formula One. He's got another one to add to his tally. And after 17 laps of flat-out racing, it's Antonelli who's taken the flag, and another victory. His first sprint to go with his 5 Grand Prix wins.
Nice work, Kimi. Very impressive, mate. Very well done.
Let's go. Let's go.
In control all the way.
They do engineering, they do branding for their victories. It's working so well, Pete Bonington and Kimi Antonelli. Second season now with 6 wins, 5 Grand Prix and 1 sprint. Lewis Hamilton fighting so well. Everyone at the start of sprint qualifying yesterday expected a Mercedes 1-2. He upset the form book there and led more laps than Ferrari expected at the start of the weekend. Gave the fans a lot to cheer about, as did Lando Norris, who decided he was just going to drain the tank.
Yeah, well done. Good job. Just, there you guys. Let's get it right for once, please.
So Lando Norris, not as happy as we've heard him before. Over the line, it was 0.8 of a second. He was ahead of George Russell, and not happy with something.
Yeah. Now we'll focus on to the next one.
Kimi, well done. Does that fastest lap make you happy at the end?
Yeah, it makes me happier.
Yeah, the team don't love it when the driver does that at the end, but Kimi Antonelli with a 1:31.607, fastest lap on the last lap.
Very pointed from Norris,
Something wrong with the Red
drove a
Bulls.
great race there. I mean, the facts say he started 6th and finished 3rd, and in probably a slower car than Russell and Leclerc had. So it's a great drive. Massive deployment differences on the first lap. I wonder if that's what he's not chuffed about.
Well, it can only be that, surely, from what we've seen, when he's improved past people who really did have an opportunity ahead of him. To beat a Mercedes this year in any race is impressive.
Yeah, he did clear. It was Russell, wasn't it, into Cops and then lost out. But you know, you win 1, you lose 2, then you win 2, you lose 1. Like, when as a driver, as a commentator, it's hard to keep track of it. As a driver, it must be as well.
On that first lap, though, it really did appear that McLaren had just decided to go early, and I wonder if his frustration is we did not have this worked out as efficiently as everyone else did.
It's been McLaren's perennial problem, hasn't it? Getting the energy deployment as efficient as Mercedes. They have the same power unit, the same tools, but a different way of working, and Mercedes are a little bit ahead of the game on that. Brings them some lap time in general, and it brings them maybe a more efficient way of working, and it took everyone a few laps to get back into kilter at the start of the race there, and McLaren were the main ones out of kilter. But when you sort of sum it up at the end, you do think that Lando got himself into 3rd. He had to go quite robust with his defence in the end on George Russell to get that 3rd place, and then Russell fell back and created the buffer. They'll all look at it, and we got another start frenzy to come tomorrow, I'm quite sure, unless they all decide that the same strategy is the right one.
More of the same coming your way for the British Grand Prix, and more of the same in 2026 for Kimi Antonelli. Used to this winning feeling, had his breakthrough victory in China and he is carried on as two very talented drivers from different generations say well done. They're the first and second in the race. Antonelli and Hamilton, Norris completing the top three. Kimi Antonelli taking his first sprint win. Took the youngest ever sprint pole record in Miami in his first season. He becomes the youngest ever sprint winner in his second. Plenty for the crowd to enjoy in that one. What a view they've all got down there at Parc Ferme. They have to mix it up, don't they, for the sprint? That is some view for some fans to enjoy right in front of a very special podium. Antonelli with the fastest lap on the last lap. Antonelli, Hamilton, Norris, Russell, Leclerc, Verstappen, Piastri and Lawson. The top 8 and the point scorers at the end of the Saturday race. Antonelli taking his time. President of the FIA saying congratulations. Antonelli is just gathering himself together, having taken the lead on lap 8. Very measured in the way that he didn't go for it early. I think that underlines the confidence that Mercedes have in their car for this weekend. George Russell in 4th will be frustrated that he couldn't get, he needed a couple of laps more to get past Norris, who judged it nicely after that gap came down from 3 seconds to 0.8 of a second by the line. Now, TC has made his way along the corridor, down the stairs, and he's going to talk to our top 3 at the end of this sprint race.
Well, welcome to our Super Saturday, the sprint podium, and first of all, our 3rd place finisher. I suspect you're reasonably happy with that, because you were a bit out of position in quali, made a great start, and then, well, you get to take the 3rd place.
That was a very good race. I'm very happy. Good start, good first lap. Not the pace to go with these guys, but I had a good battle with George and a lot behind me, so pleasantly surprised with today. So no, good, but it's just a sprint, so we have to do it all over again tomorrow.
Yeah, and of course you've got qualifying later on as well. So generally the car was feeling more together, because you have had some difficulty through free practice and quali. We didn't see any mistakes there.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah, no, there was a couple little things we can certainly do better for later and better into tomorrow. So no, it was a good race, good points. I gave it everything I could. As George was catching me pretty quickly at the end. So no, it was a good race, and congrats to these two as well.
Did you say gorgeous, George?
No, I would never say
sorry,
that.
it's my hearing not so good. Okay, Lando, congratulations. If you stay here, please. I'm going to bring in our 2nd place finisher, Lewis. Congratulations. Please, we just bring you forward a little bit. Otherwise, we lose you into the screen there. Now, you gave the crowd what they wanted yesterday with that amazing pole position. The start went very well. You had to be decisive into turn 1, and it looked like you had control of the race, but Kimi just had too much pace towards the end.
Yeah, big thank you for everyone that's here. The crowd is amazing here, so... And also, this is like the most energy I've seen in the pit lane before, so...
Yeah, you have your super fans right here.
Yeah. Yeah, tough race to keep the Mercedes behind. I did say that was potentially the case yesterday. And obviously, with it being so windy today, big headwind down the back straight, I mean, he came flying past. I mean, I was pushing as hard as I could. I gave it absolutely everything. But well done to Kimi. And yeah, we got work to do to try and close that gap so we can keep up.
Yeah, well, you've got some more knowledge now to take into qualifying later in the Grand Prix, of course. Just put us in the cockpit in terms of how you were using your energy to try and defend, first of all. And it looked like you used a lot of it early, and then in the end, you just couldn't defend on Hangar Straight.
Yeah, they're particularly quick up to turn 6. And so I had to sometimes use the boost there. But one of the biggest places is as you come out and turn, when you come around Stowe, turn 15, you get on the power and there's no power. And that's where he was catching me massively. Then getting into the overtake mode, and once he got the overtake mode, then I couldn't hold him back after that, because he has extra deployment through the lap, and I couldn't break that that 1 second barrier then. So as soon as that was lost, I knew he was coming.
Yeah. Oh well, congratulations nonetheless. A very strong sprint for you. If you can stick around as well, because we have your awards after. And our race sprint winner, Kimi, congratulations. There's quite a contrast. 21 years difference in age. This is Lewis's 20th British Grand Prix, only your second, but we got to see you go toe-to-toe, and you fainted as if you were going to overtake down into Brooklands, and then you obviously got the overtake a couple of laps later, so you enjoyed that battle.
Yeah, it was a very fun first 10 laps with Lewis. We were both pushing very hard, and yeah, when I got into overtake, I knew my chance was coming, and then out of 4, that lap I was very close. That I went alongside in Brooklands. He used the boost, and I decided to wait. And then, obviously, going into Stowe, I used everything I had, and then I was able to overtake. And from that point on, I just tried to get into my rhythm and, you know, just try to break the overtake that he had, and then just try to bring it home.
Now, you've been racing since you were a small kid, but can you really believe the run of form that you're having right now, just win after win?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the momentum is there, and we're doing a great job together with the team. But of course, you know, we can't let our guard down, you know, lower, because Lewis and Ferrari are doing an incredible job, and Red Bull, McLaren, they're coming, and obviously also George is super quick. So we just need to keep raising that bar and, you know, keep delivering performances.
Well, congratulations on that. If you wouldn't mind going between Lewis and Lando, please, and form up as if you were on a podium. I'll take that microphone, and at this point, what we're going to do, we have our present right here with us, but we're going to bring out the future. We have our karting champions who are going to present the awards to our top 3. Congratulations to you all on receiving those awards, and if I could just ask everyone to face the cameras for a shot. Well, Lando's getting some advice here from one of our karting champions. Excellent, and if we can just bring the kids out once you've done that, please, and we'll just get a photograph with our top 3. Well done to the karting champions. Oh, Lando's still getting some advice there, so sorry, Kimi, if you wouldn't mind just getting in there for a picture once they've finished the chat. Once again, everybody, our sprint podium. Congratulations, Kimi, Lando, and Lewis.
Hello guys, that's it for the session.
The questions asked by David Coulthard. And then the Master of Ceremonies, also David Coulthard. Top 3 of the race, Kimi Antonelli, Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris.